What is going on, Flat Rate World? Hello, Kenneth Edmonds. How are you, buddy?
I am fine. How are you doing?
I have no complaints whatsoever. I'm giggling at myself here because I've got one of our banners down there, which is like a plug that went through our whole timer, like get flat rate certified. So remember, people, get flat rate certified.
Yeah, you got to be flat rate certified. Yeah, it's interesting. Today was my day for bright shirts. I have a Jamaica shirt on.
Yeah, I'll start with which part of the world are you watching from? Because as we were just talking, you got some other cruises coming up, and Jamaica's on your list as well, right?
Yep, I've got 2 cruises, so hopefully back to back coming up. I definitely have one. Just got to put the paperwork in on the other one. So I'll be back and forth to Cozumel and Nassau 2 weeks in a row, and then I'm working on going to Jamaica for a grand opening at a property down there, an all-inclusive property. So I'm looking forward to that. And as long as the internet works, I'll be joining you live from wherever.
Yay!
Well, hey, and you have some travel coming up.
I do, finally. Yeah. My first trip with I thought I had travel we're going to talk about today, and then we'll get into the other travel that's coming up, and I absolutely cannot wait to get back on the road. And hey, for everyone out there in Flat Rate World, make sure you tell us where you're watching from. It's Ken's favorite part of the day when he sees which part of the world people are tuning in from, so don't forget to do it. The other thing we'd encourage you to do is leave your comments and questions always. So if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, just look down in the comment section, plug it in there, and we'll do our best to get it up on the screen today. And speaking of what we're talking about today, Ken, so fall color highlights. I'm going to bring up my screen here. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, yeah. So that was the little banner I had up for my presentation. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, speaking of travel, and really bummed me out because I thought that was going to be my first trip of the year. But of course, with all this border crap that's still going on, PCR testing required to get back into Canada, I couldn't go. My original appointment for my PCR was canceled. Tried to book the other one, would have had me staying there until Monday, which I just simply couldn't do. So, because you know that in this country, they still require a full PCR test to get on the plane and get back into the country. And if you don't have it, that's 14 days at home in quarantine. And as much as I love working from home, I don't want to be stuck here for 14 days. So at any rate, fingers crossed, Ken, that won't happen again for the next trip that we're talking about. So yeah.
Well, hopefully that works out. And it was interesting. I was there. I got to help you with your Q&A. And I was fortunate. I got to present a couple of things. But it was a great event. It was probably the best attended event, both from a vendor perspective, and from a dealer perspective. I thought we had great panel discussions. We had some amazing things that happened during that time frame.
Yeah, I'm going to bring a few up quickly right now because I just think it's pretty cool. Look at these fine gentlemen, right? And I did an announcement there, but one thing that I love to talk about the BTA when you think of how deep and wide they go, Bob Evans, Michael Hicks, Mike McCurdy, and David, they're all on the top 100 list. But do you know how many people are actually on the top 100 list that are BTA members?
Did you say 60?
Yeah, I think 65. So
65. Wow.
So if you don't belong to the BTA and you want to have a little more impact in your industry, I think you need to join the BTA. That's all I'm saying. I got a guest that I'd like to bring in today. And can you guess who that is, Ken?
Maybe does he give out hats? By the way, I don't have a hat.
Yes, he does. Hey, what's up, Andy?
What's happening, guys? How are you?
Really good.
Fine. How are you?
I'm awesome. Ken, just send me an email and you'll get your hat. Just send me an email with your address and it's on the way.
Okay. I'll do that.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming in. Well, I know that you were at the BTA, and obviously
I was at the BTA.
I enjoyed quite a few of your social posts because that's something I enjoy doing myself. And it's really nice to actually see those things happening during the day when you're posting those pictures and talking about the different things that are happening, right? For those of us that can't be there. So thanks for always doing that. And thanks for being there. And thanks for being on the program today.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about our some of the highlights. And certainly maybe Andy, I'll get you to start with that. What are some of the things that really stuck out for you? And Ken, I'm going to hide you for a bit so we can get Andy full screen. This is something we do all the time. Nobody puts baby in the corner, but I put Ken in the green room. So
there he goes. Off he goes.
He was about to say something.
The last word there. That's the best. That's the best. One more thing, Zip. I have to say the panel was just awesome. It came out of the gate. It was the Goldberg panel at the beginning. He had, three very significant people in our industry. Laura, the senior vice president at Konica Minolta, Laura Blackmer, Mike Marusik is the CEO and president of Sharp, and then Jim Caridi, vice president of Ricoh USA, right? And they're all the dealer people. Collectively, that the three of those people on stage represents a very strong majority of all the hardware that's being sold through this channel. So the panel, just having them was great, but then the topics were awesome, and those three really did a very nice job, I think, of just kind of telling everyone the way it was, the way it is. It's so the things I really liked that they talked about were supply chain right off the bat. Where are you? What's happening? Laura talked about toner. They've had some issues that they're on the verge of getting past now, which they're up and running. But she got to the opportunity to explain to everybody what happened, where they are now, what they did, steps they took. Same with Mike. Same with Jim for the inventory issues everybody's dealing with, supply chain problems, and it wasn't good news, but it was worthy of hearing, right? So
yeah. That's pretty incredible. That takes me back a long way, sort of in my managed print career, and it was many, many, many years ago, enough that I can't even remember which event it was. But I remember, actually, I think it was a CompT event, and there were some OEMs talking up on the stage, and this was kind of when things in managed print were kind of going a little squirrely with a lot of the remanufacture coming to the managed print space, and they had these OEMs that were up there talking about the challenges and the things that they were doing as they were moving into that world as well, right? And that was one of my favorite sessions. It seems like those times when there's that significant change, not always good, that you get some really profound stuff that you learn from the OEMs as they're moving through it, right?
Yeah. And to his credit, Bob Goldberg is the BTA general counsel, right? And it's again, you mentioned before BTA and what a great association that is, and it's a perk of belonging to this association is that you get to pick his brain, you get to ask him questions, but you also get to come to events like this one, like the one they had in Coronado that you also got locked out of the country for, that we had earlier this year. But another great panel where actually that wasn't a panel, that was just him up there on stage, sort of just filling us in on what was going on and new regulations that were coming in. So this is a guy that's got his ear on, on the pulse of what these dealers are dealing with, and then to have the manufacturers and ask them pretty, pointed questions on where are you with your supply chain? How are you getting through it? What can we expect? And then, the conversation turned into one of your areas, right? So then he started asking each of them about flat rate and one rate and how are they doing with it? How'd they fare with it in the pandemic? Why aren't you doing it? What are your reasons for it? And all three of those executives, they talked about, Sharp discussed how they were about to do it, and then they kind of pulled back, and Konica Minolta has a version of that that's very
pioneered, early on.
Yeah. So, it was just a couple of great topics, and it's just one of those sessions where you wish it would have gone on another half hour, and obviously time constraints, you can only ask so many questions. So it was a great start to the event that kind of, I think, set the pace for the rest of it.
Well, that's great, Ken, and you were there. I'm going to put myself in the green room, and maybe you can share some of your notes on that session as well. Bye.
Well, I thought, like you did, Andy, that the candor that they showed during that presentation was, I got to move you. It distracts me because I have you on my other monitor, and then I can't see you, so I look, and that makes it bad. But I thought it was the candor with which they addressed the issues. I thought they were both pretty open and and tried to be as transparent as they could be. I'm sure that they didn't share every secret they know, but both of them are facing challenges. Obviously Konica got hit worse with the two fires. And it's interesting because I used to work for Konica, and I go back several years back. I was working for Sharp when we had a disruption. It was the earthquake.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah, and and the disruption that we went through, and the inability to get parts and equipment, and I kind of actually touched on that a little bit in my in my presentation on business planning is that's a key part of your business planning strategy is have a disaster plan. What do you do if, it was interesting when we talked to Mark Spring, actually it was after our interview with Mark Spring last week. I talked to him about ITEX, and he was saying that one of the things that's going to be advantageous there is they're going to have some vendors from the U.S. so that when the supply chain gets disrupted, you've got somewhere else to go. Because, being a former DSM, I'm a fan of OEM toner. When I had a dealership, I tried some non-OEM toner in some high volume equipment, and I suffered horribly for that decision. But, there's just so many things that are going on, in the industry. I thought it was interesting because one of the things, just to speak to what Mike said about, you put too many cards on the table if you do that. If you do it right, because if you follow the pattern that Wes and I will lay out for you, when you go to do a flat rate quote, your competition's not going to know what's included. They're not going to know how many copies. They're not going to know how you structured your pricing. That's one of the advantages. If you do it right, they don't know anything. And we'll get to some of the other issues later on. But I thought the panel was really good. I enjoyed it. I wish I had taped that. I have video of both of my presentations, and I will be sharing. We have West's video, so we'll have a lot of those presentations available on our website.
I do have clips of about 5 clips from that session are available on our website and our video page. So you can see what Laura said, what Mike said, what Jim said about some of those issues. Specifically, I did get some of the supply chain stuff and the flat rate. One rate, depending on who you're talking to. Continental has a very specific way they like to discuss that.
Rose by any other name.
It's branded. It's so we got to make sure we say it right. But they're very much into it, and there's they love it, and we'll see going forward. I'm very interested to see in the next 24 months how that plan works. But I think the dealers that did use it and the branches that used it probably did pretty well over the last 18 months with it.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of fun. I'm jumping ahead, but it was interesting when I unfortunately had to play my video, sort of presentation versus actually being there. But one of the dealers, when he said that they had an education deal that they were in threat of losing, and they kept it, through a flat rate offering, right? And they actually reduced some of the volumes to get their cost under control under that account. So anyways, that was super fun. And just to get you guys to move on to other highlights, like what else during the show was fun and interesting?
Bob Evans, you mentioned him earlier, Volunteer of the Year, right? That was always nice. I kind of knew right when they were announcing it who was going to win it. You just had this sense. And, that's one of the things I do love about these BTA meetings is, there's a lot of really good people in them. And every now and then we get to recognize somebody who's done just a really great job for our industry, the community in general. Got great companies and great people in this business.
Yeah, and I love, it's kind of interesting because my relation with the BTA goes back to one of my days at Konica. And Deborah Dennis and I have worked together. I supported her dealership when I was at Konica. She's had me, and the Southeast has had me speak multiple times at events. And, it's an amazing organization. They do so many things. And it's all volunteers. It's, with the exception of very small paid staff, all of this work's being done by volunteers, and they do everything they can to help the dealer community. And it was like, Wes and I talk a lot about MPSA. Both of those organizations are really focused on helping dealers. And I love the recognition because the BTA does a really nice job of making sure that volunteers get recognized and get some support, and some encouragement.
Yeah, and they keep it, fresh. It's not the same faces every year, and they rotate through presidents and regional presidents and executives, and so there's always fresh people coming in. There's always some fresh perspective, but that group's going on 100 years old. I mean, my God, it's almost. I'm going to say it. It's almost as old as Canada, right? So if he's watching. But anyway, this is, I jest, but it's a gem of this industry, right? It's a way for all these people, these companies to kind of come together, learn about new technologies, learn about new products and programs. And that's one of the things I don't know how they do it. And again, I'm a sponsored publication, so I'm always looking for new clients. But Brent and BTA just pulls these companies in that complement, that I've never heard of, that just complement what these dealers are offering. And they just seem to sometimes come out of nowhere. And then you look, you turn around the corner and 2 years, 3 years later, you've got 50 dealers using them. So they've always got a good eye on I think what dealers may want to look at next. And, it's a pleasure to work with that organization.
Yeah. Completely agree. And hey, one other thing, what was fun? Like, what did you guys do for some of the social stuff? Was it, is it sort of back to normal? Did everyone have, fun? What was that all about?
Yeah, they did. The first night I was there for the first night. I didn't do the second night. The first night was it was dueling pianos. It was kind of low key compared to the Coronado nights that they did a couple months ago. But it was a beautiful night in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and you could see them from where we were. It was just a phenomenal hotel, a great facility, and they just had a really nice dinner, a cocktail hour, nothing crazy. I got there a day early, and I played a little golf with some people from Dex and UTEC and Bob Goldberg I mentioned. So I got a little extra time there. But that's one of the things. BTA does not pick bad places. So, when you go to them, the facilities are going to be nice. It's going to be, just good people there, good companies to learn about. And typically the content, I don't remember, the last time I was at an event where they didn't have a bunch of sessions that I walked away from saying like, wow, that was, very useful to me. And I don't even sell copiers anymore. I'm a news guy. Right. So, but it's just, there's just all this information about different industries that these guys are considering moving into, and different ways to do it. And the panels where they get to hear from, their peers and their vendors. It's a lot of really good information from them over a course of a couple of days.
And you were talking about the social thing, and I thought the meal was great. I thought they did a good job with it. We stayed for a while with dueling pianos. We had to drive the next day, so we didn't stay really late. But one of the things that I saw throughout the whole thing that you see, on a social level, is you see dealers that are, non-competing dealers all huddled up in different little clusters, and they're all talking about what they're thinking about and discussing problems. And that is one of the things, and it's kind of interesting because I talk with the service managers, I teach about that. I encourage dealers that I talk to build a network of people that you don't compete with. There's some trade associations that do that, CDA, SDG, all of these groups.
American Co-op, all of them. Yep.
Too many times what we wind up doing as business owners, and I know I was really guilty of it, when I had my business, is I was always fighting to reinvent the wheel, because if you're struggling with a problem, the odds are really good that there's another dealer that has a solution.
Yeah.
And you probably have a solution that would help him. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're, and a lot of them are just all too happy to share. We were fortunate to be at the, I think it was the American Co-op perhaps, or it was the SDG meeting earlier this year. And, you had one of the guys retire, and they kind of stepped back, and just the goodbye and the help that they had given. And, it was a really warm moment. But this was a really big dealer who gave his time over the course of, many years to help a lot of these smaller dealers become big dealers. And, those peer groups that you said are the best part of it. And they typically follow BTA, or, one of them, especially at SDG. There's some things where they work around, they share some resources with them, I guess is the best way to say it. But whether it's that one or American Co-op or CDA, being able to turn to your peers and say, how did you do that? Or are you using these guys? What do you think of them? And have them give you an honest opinion. That's just, gives you're 20 steps ahead of where you would have been.
Right.
Invaluable.
Hey, listen, I want to respect your time, and I can't thank you enough for popping in this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. This was awesome.
Are you kidding? Anytime, all the time, my friend. So are we going to see you at ITEX? You're going to be there?
Of course I'm going to be there. I won't miss a meal. So I'll be at ITEX. I'll be at IT Nation that week. I have a busy week. But I look forward to ITEX. That's the next big one. And I guess the last sort of time that we'll all, hopefully you included, Wes, will be together. Maybe we get you across the lake and I just smuggle you in. If
oh, I like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can you row? How good at rowing are you?
Longest unprotected border in the world, right there, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see. Maybe we'll get creative, but
we'll talk
in any
after
case,
the show.
thank you very much, guys. Good seeing you. Take care.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, brother.
You too. Bye-bye.
It was great having you on.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, he's just awesome. I cannot wait to see him in person at ITEX. It's been far too many years. I can't believe it'll be 2 years since I've been to a show, and that camaraderie and, rubbing shoulders with these people is amazing, right? And he's also a member of the top 100. Just an incredible resource in the industry. In fact, I think he's number 1 on the list. Is that right? Yeah, he's
I don't have the list up, but yeah, he was way up there. I know that.
He's number 1. So congrats to you, brother. He's already logged off, but hopefully they'll see the the video afterwards, right? All right. So moving along. So thanks for sharing that, guys, because I wasn't there. And I know for everyone that wasn't, that's some really nice stuff. But we got to look towards the future now too, right? So we do have a show coming up November 9th and 10th. And pretty excited about that. I'm going to share my screen here in a second. But before I do that, let's maybe talk a little bit about it. You're going to be there too, right, Ken?
I'm going to be there virtually.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna swap positions this time. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, because I wind up in the middle of somewhere between the Bahamas and Mexico at that point in time on a cruise ship. But I'm going to try to be in, and in fact, if we do multiple live streams, I'll see what I can do to join as many of them. And that's one of the things we're looking at doing is doing some. And I should have done that. I didn't think about doing some live streams. I could have done that from the event in Asheville, and I will do that going forward. I did record some of the video presentations, so on our website, just so people know, we'll have my 2 presentations, or at least most of them. I'm still sorting the clips, but one of them looks like I might have missed the first couple of minutes of it. The other thing that we will have is we will start to have your presentation will be there, and the panel discussion, as much of it as I have, will be up there as well. So collectively, we'll have this information available so people that miss that opportunity can catch it, in the afterwards.
Yes, and for those that are going to be at ITEX, so it is November 9th and 10th. I know the 9th is a pre-day. There's going to be some really good stuff with Randy Dazzo and Keypoint, as well as Mark's organization for helping them understand better marketing strategies, etc. Right, so it should be a good day. And then on the 10th, the showroom floor is live, and the education sessions will be going there. So I'm pretty excited about that. I do have my own education session, obviously, on the subscription economy and managed print and what that holds for the future, right? So I'm really looking forward to that. And if you haven't registered yet, you should, and I'll try and make it a little easier for you. There you go. I know that picture of me is a little too big for anyone's comfort, but it's A-OK. I want to see you there at ITEX 20th anniversary, and so much so that I've got my own discount code. I've made it to the big leagues now, Ken, when you get your own discount code.
Wow.
West 50. So I've got 20 of these in reserve. I'm not sure how many of them are left. But if you go in and you register, just visit itechshow.com and go to the registration site. There will be a thing there for your coupon code for West 50. Put that in and you'll get 50% off. And like I said, I've got 20 of them. No idea how many are left, but you should be able to, to get your hands on one, right? So, and I, for one, am excited to see everybody there.
Yeah,
right.
I am looking forward. I'm looking forward to next year because I'm going to try to make sure that everything is good for me to be there as well. I think that there might be a lot of very interesting things happen in association with ITEX 2022. There's a lot going on with 2021. I think 2022 is going to be a bigger and better version.
Yeah, no, I think so too, right? That certainly we're clawing our way out of whatever this pandemic life is that we're leading professionally. And, certainly by next year, if history teaches us any lessons, we should be, good to go, and it should be a lot more fun, right? So, but for all those that are going to be there this year, if you haven't registered, make sure you do. West 50 is your discount code, and look forward to seeing everyone there and attending my session. And I do have, it's kind of exciting, I've got some dealers who can't be there and some that are going to be there, which will be on a panel during my presentation talking about how subscription has helped their businesses. So definitely want to make sure that you're there to listen in on as those dealers share their secrets. All right. The last thing, it's so funny. Ken had this up at the beginning, right? So get flat rate certified. Do not forget, if you're trying to build a flat rate program, or if you have one and you just want someone to eyeball it and make sure that you've got all your details covered for contract language or how you're pricing it or paying your sales reps, etc. These two guys on the screen right here, this is what we love. This is what we do. So make sure you reach out, right?
We're passionate about it. And I'm going to just real quickly, I want to say one of the interesting things was, in general, I would say the overall theme of the event in Asheville is that it's a time for change in the industry.
Sure.
Because the dealer panel talked about it. The Laura and all those guys on the OEM panel talked about change. My presentation was about it. It's just like we just kept hearing about change. I thought that was interesting. And are you going to share with them our topic for next week?
Well, our topic for next week is going to be everything 10-day challenge, right? So, and we're not going to talk about how you can get it free today. I'm not going to take more money out of your pocket, Ken, but next week.
You keep trying. I have one of those signs. I'm gonna bring it to my next show. Will work for travel.
All the money's coming out of your pocket next week, though, Ken, as we go through it. So certainly encourage everyone to join in. We're actually going to sort of highlight and cover what each of the 10 days covered in that challenge. And it really is hard to believe that we're willing to give it away for free. But certainly if you're, looking to bolster your flat rate program, tons of dealers have used it already to help them in their efforts. So tune in next week and we'll show you the new ways that you can get it free. So appreciate it, Ken. Can't thank you enough for joining in for another episode this week. And what's the rest of your week look like? Anything exciting happening?
Not a lot. I have a little bit of a quiet week in that I've got, some video work to do. I'm trying to get stuff to the BTA and I'm trying to get stuff on our website updated. So I have a lot of those kinds of things. And as always, I teach service management. So right now I'm twice a week. I have 2 different classes going. So that's my week.
Well, that's great, brother. Yeah, my week this afternoon, I've actually got my first meeting with the top 100. This is a private weekly session that we're going to be doing together. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then I got to get my button gear and finish my presentation for iTex. Because I know if Mark Spring or someone else is watching this, they're like, where's your presentation, McDonald? Where is it? It's coming, I promise. So, hey, Ken, can't thank you enough. And look forward to talking to you again next week, live in person on Wednesday.
We'll see you Wednesday.
All right. Cheers, brother.